We're going to start. Again, this is Monday, the 6th of April. Monday, the 6th of April. This will be part two. What God say about His Word, pray. And we're going to start at Judges chapter 6:27. And it says, Judges chapter 6:27. Then Gideon took 10 men of his servants and did as the Lord had said unto him. And so it was, because he feared his father's household and the man of the city. Then he could not do it by day, that he did it by night. Judges 6:28. And when the men of the city arose early in the morning, behold, the altar of Baal was cast down, and the grove was cut down that was by it. And the second bullock was offered upon the altar that was built. Judges 6:29. And they said one to another, Who hath done this thing? And when they inquired and asked, they said, Gideon, the son of Joash, hath done this thing. Judges chapter 6, verse 30. Then the man of the city said unto Joash, Bring out thy son, that he may die. And because that he may die. Judges chapter 6:30 says, Then the man of the city said unto Joash, Bring out thy son, that he may die, because he hath cast down the altar of Baal, and because he hath cut down the grove that was by it. Page 19, part 2, what the mouth of voice of God say about His Word, pray. John chapter 16, verse 2. They shall put you out of the synagogues. Yea, the time cometh that whosoever killeth you will think that he doeth God service. Acts chapter 8, 1. Acts chapter 8, verse 1. And Saul was consenting unto his death. And at that time there was a great persecution against the church, which was at Jerusalem, and they were all scattered abroad throughout the regions of Judea and Samaria, except the apostles. Acts chapter 11, verse 19. Now, they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen traveled as far as Phoenice and Cyprus and Antioch, preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only. And the Jews are Negro people, black people. People are called Negro color black in the Bahamas and America and Africa, Nigeria, all over the world. They scattered all over the world. When they talk about the Jews, that's what they're talking about. Naturally speaking. And spiritually speaking, through the blood of Jesus Christ, we become spiritual Jews. Or Israel. Same thing. Okay? So again, Acts chapter 11, 19. Now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen traveled as far as Phoenice and Cyprus and Antioch, preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only. Acts chapter 8, 1. And Saul was consenting unto his death, and at that time there was a great persecution against the church, which was at Jerusalem, And they were all scattered abroad throughout the regions of Judea and Samaria, except the apostles. What the mouth of voice of God say about his word? Pray. Acts chapter 11:19. Now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen traveled as far as Phoenice and Cyprus and Antioch, preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only. Acts chapter 8:1. And Saul was consenting unto his death, and at that time there was a great persecution against the church which was at Jerusalem, and they were all scattered abroad throughout the regions of Judea and Samaria, except the apostles. Judges chapter 6:31. And Joash said unto all that stood against him, Will ye plead for Baal? Will ye save him? He that will plead for him, let him be put to death, whilst it is yet morning. If he be a good, if he be a God, let him plead for himself, because one hath cast down his altar. Let's read that again. Judges chapter 6:31. And Joash said unto all that stood against him, Will ye plead for Baal? Will ye save him? He that will plead for him, let him be put to death, whilst it is yet morning. If he be a God, let him plead for himself, because one hath cast down his altar. Judges 6:32. Therefore, on that day he called him Jerubbaal, saying, Let Baal plead against him, because he hath thrown down his altar. Page 21. But the mouth of voice of God say but his word, pray. Part 2. Jeremiah chapter 11:13. For according to the number of the city were thy gods, O Judah, and according to the number of the streets of Jerusalem have ye set up altars to that shameful thing, even altars to burn incense unto Baal. Judges chapter 6:33. Then all the Midianites and the Amalekites and the children of the east were gathered together and went over and pitched in the valley of Jezreel. Judges chapter 6:34. But the Spirit of the Lord came upon Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, and Abiezer was gathered after him. Judges 6:35. And he sent messengers throughout all Manasseh, who also was gathered after him. And he sent messengers unto Asher, and unto Zebulun, and unto Naphtali, and they came up to meet them. Judges 6:36. And Gideon said unto God, If thou wilt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said. Judges 6:37. Behold, I will put a fleece of wool in the floor, and if the dew be on the fleece only, and it be dry upon all the earth beside, then shall I know that thou wilt save Israel by mine hand, as thou hast said. Deuteronomy 32 verse 2. My doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon the tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 6. I have planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase. Isaiah chapter 55, verse 10. For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. That scripture between Judges 6:37 and 1 Corinthians 3:6 is Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 2. All right. Let's see. Let's read that again. I'll make sure I got that in there. All right. We'll continue. Okay. What the mouth of voice of God say about His word? Pray. 1 Corinthians 3:7. So then, neither is he that planteth anything, neither is he that watereth, but God that giveth the increase. 1 Corinthians 3:8. Now he that planteth and he that watereth are one, and every man shall receive his own reward according to his own labor. Hosea 6:3. Then shall we know, if we follow on to know the Lord. His going forth is prepared as the morning, and he shall come unto us as the rain, as the latter and former rain unto the earth. Hosea 6:4. O Ephraim, what shall I do unto thee? O Judah, what shall I do unto thee? For your goodness is as the morning cloud, and as the early dew it goeth away. What the mouth and voice of God say about His word? Pray, page 24, part 2. 1 Samuel chapter 6, verse 7. Now therefore make a new cart, and take 2 milk kine, on which there hath come no yoke, and tie the kine to the cart, and bring their calves home from them. 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 3. And they set the ark of God upon a new cart, and brought it out of the house of Abinadab that was in Gibeah, and Uzzah and Ahio, the sons of Abinadab, drave the new cart. Numbers chapter 7, verse 9. But unto the sons of Kohath he gave none, because the service of the sanctuary belonging unto them was that they should bear upon their shoulders. Genesis chapter 24, verse 17. And the servant ran to meet her, and said, Let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of thy pitcher. John chapter 4, verse 7. There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Jesus saith unto her, Give me to drink. What the mouth and voice of God say about His word? Pray, page 25, part 2. Genesis chapter 24, verse 23. And said, Whose daughter art thou? Tell me, I pray thee, is there room in thy father's house for us to lodge in? Genesis chapter 24, verse 43. Behold, I stand by the well of water, And it shall come to pass that when the virgin cometh forth to draw water, and I say to her, Give me, I pray thee, a little water of thy pitcher to drink. Genesis 24:45. And before I had done speaking in mine heart, heart is the mind, behold, Rebekah came forth with her pitcher on her shoulder, and she went down unto the well and drew water. And I said unto her, Let me drink, I pray thee. Genesis chapter 25, verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Genesis chapter 27, verse 3. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field and take me some venison. Page 26, part 2, what the mouth of was God say but his word pray. Genesis chapter 27, verse 19. And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau, thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. Zechariah chapter 13:4. And it shall come to pass in that day that the prophets shall be ashamed every one of his vision, when he hath prophesied, neither shall they wear a rough garment to deceive. Genesis chapter 27, verse 21. And Isaac said unto Jacob, Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. Genesis chapter 30, verse 14. And Reuben went in the days of wheat harvest, and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, Give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. Page 27. God said but his word pray. Genesis chapter 25, verse 30. Genesis chapter 25, verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Genesis chapter 30, verse 27. And Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. Psalms 1:3. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Genesis chapter 39, verse 3. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. Proverbs chapter 28, verse 20. A faithful man shall abound with blessings, but he that maketh haste to be rich shall not be innocent. What the mouth of voice of God say about his word? Pray. Isaiah chapter 61 verse 9. And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles, and their offspring among the people. All that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which the Lord hath blessed. Genesis chapter 32 verse 11. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me, and the mother with the children. Hosea chapter 10 verse 14. Therefore shall a tumult arise among thy people, and all thy fortress shall be spoiled, as Shalman spoiled Beth Arbel in the day of battle. The mother was dashed in pieces upon her children. 2 Kings chapter 18 verse 34. Where are the gods of Hamath and of Arpad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim, Hena, and Iva? Have they delivered Samaria out of mine hand? What the mouth and voice of God say about his word? Pray. Genesis chapter 32:29. And Jacob asked him and said, Tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, Wherefore is it that thou dost ask after my name? And he blessed him there. Genesis chapter 33 verse 10. And Jacob said, Nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen thy face, as though I had seen the face of God, and thou wast pleased with me. 2 Samuel 3 verse 13. And he said, Well, I will make a league with thee, but one thing I require of thee, that is, thou shalt not see my face, except thou first bring Michal, Saul's daughter, when thou comest to see my face. Page 30, what the mouth of what's God say about his word? Pray. Matthew chapter 18 verse 10. Matthew chapter 18 verse 10. Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you, that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. Esther 1:14. And the next unto him was Kashina, Shetha, Admatha, Tarshish, Maries, Marsina, and Memucan, the seven princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom. Ezra 7:14. For as much as thou art sent of the king and of his seven counselors to inquire concerning Judah and Jerusalem, according to the law of thy God, which is in thine hand. What the mouth of voice of God say about his word? Pray. Esther, page 33, part 2. What the mouth of voice of God say about his word? Pray. Esther chapter 1 verse 14. And the next unto him was Karshina, Shetha, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marsina, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom. Ezra 7:14. For as much as thou art sent of the king and of the 7 counselors, to inquire concerning Judah and Jerusalem, according to the law of thy God, which is in thine hand. Esther 1:14. And the next unto him was Karshina, Shetha, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marsina, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom. Page 32, what the mouth was, God said his word, pray. Luke 1:19. Luke chapter 1, verse 19. And the angel answering said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of God, and am sent to speak unto thee, and to show thee these glad tidings. Daniel chapter 8, verse 16. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Uli, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. Daniel chapter 9:21. Yea, whilst I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. Genesis chapter 33, verse 11. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that I brought to thee, because God hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. What the mouth of voice of God say about his word, pray. Genesis chapter 33, verse 14. Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly, according as the cattle that goeth before me, and the children be able to endure, until I come unto my Lord unto Seir. Genesis chapter 32, verse 3. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau, his brother, unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. Deuteronomy chapter 2, verse 5. Meddle not with them, for I will not give you of their land, no, not so much as a foot breadth, because I have given Mount Seir unto Esau for a possession. Daniel chapter 4, verse 32. And they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee, until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. Daniel chapter 4, verse 32. Father's powerful. Page 34. What the mouth and voice of God say about his word, pray. Daniel chapter 4:35. And all the inhabitants of the earth are reputed as nothing, and he doeth according to his will in the army of heaven, and among the inhabitants of the earth. Job chapter 34, verse 29. When he giveth quietness, who then can make trouble? And when he hideth his face, who then can behold him? Whether it be done against a nation or against a man only. Isaiah chapter 45, verse 9. Woe unto him that striveth with his maker. Let the potsherd strive with the potsherds of the earth. Shall the clay say to him that fashioneth it, what makest thou? Or thy work? He hath no hands. Jeremiah chapter 18, verse 6. O house of Israel, cannot I do with you as this potter, saith the Lord? Behold, as the clay is in the potter's hand, so are ye in mine hand, O house of Israel. Page 35. Romans chapter 9:20. Nay, but, O man, who art thou that repliest against God? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? Isaiah 45:9. Woe unto him that striveth with his maker. Let the potsherd strive with the potsherds of the earth. Shall the clay say to him that fashioneth it, what makest thou? Or thy work? He hath no hands. Jeremiah chapter 18, verse 6. O house of Israel, cannot I do with you as this potter, saith the Lord? Behold, as the clay is in the potter's hand, so are ye in mine hand, O house of Israel. Romans chapter 9, verse 20. Nay, but, O man, who art thou that repliest against God? Shall the thing formed say to him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? What the mouth and voice of God say about his word, pray. Isaiah 45, verse 9. Woe unto him that striveth with his maker. Let the potsherd strive with the potsherds of the earth. Shall the clay say to him that fashioneth it, what makest thou? Or thy work? He hath no hands. Acts chapter 17, verse 26. And hath made of one blood all nations of men, for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and hath determined the times before appointed, and the bounds of their habitation. We can break off right there.